In this video we're going to take a look at doing headers and footers and using some dynamic content. What we're going to end up with is this over here. And by the way, I have two instances of Report Builder running right now. And if the way you do that is you can get one instance of Report Builder running, and then instead of going down here and selecting New, you would go over to your Start menu in Win 7 and fire that on up and just type in Report Builder, or use any of the Office shortcuts to fire it up, and then you'll have two instances of Report Builder running, just like any other Office application. So first off, let's take a look at what we've got up in here. Let's go ahead and run it. And here's my header. You know, this is effectively my page header, and this is just a little icon from Atheno group that we have. And then this is a standard table, nothing really exciting in the table. I just wanted to make sure it bridged multiple pages. So down here we have the page footer, page 2 of 2, and then the execution date time. And then I have down here effectively is the report footer. And if I come back across, I'll show you why that's the report footer. And we're back over here, and here's the report header. And as I actually, here's my page header up in here. This is my report header. And then I drop one down like this, and you'll notice I don't have that little footer disclaimer in here. So let's go back over to Design View and start playing with this. The data set I'm using here is the list price data set. Atheno Group 2012 price history, forgive me, price history data set, and that code is in the lab files. So we've got the price history. It's a fairly clean little data set, so we'll go through and we'll start creating it. The first thing we're going to have to do is, of course, add a data set into our report builder. So let's switch instances here, and I'm going to right click this, and I'm going to add data set, and I want price history. And we're going to give it a different name here so that we know which one we're playing with. So I'm just going to call it PH. All right, and we've got that. And as usual, I'll be pausing back and forth when I need to change some displays or something that's going to running a little long. Okay, we've got our data set. Now, frankly, I didn't have to bring the data set on down because I'm going to reuse this table. And you know, the way I did that is I went through and I published it as a report part. So I'm going to come back over, and rather than making you suffer through the configuration, here's list price history, which I named the table, and I'll double click it to add it in here to the report. And let me just move this around a little bit so we can see a little cleaner. All right, now to create this is just a standard table that I inserted with the table wizard. And then I went through and I did some things. I deleted this total down here because I have average price, and this didn't make a lot of sense. I really didn't want to see it. But I wanted this header that I have up in here, which is the table header. And the way I got that is I just opened up the configuration here for the table by clicking in it. And then I right clicked and I inserted a row. I wanted a group row, and I wanted it above. So that gave me this grouping up in here, and then I just entered this product name up in here so that when we run it, I get this product category name, which is what I wanted to see as I come on down like this. I want to see that product category name on every page of the report. You may not, but if you do. See, I've got the product category name as I come on through, back over to design. And the way you get that, I'm going to select the tablets, which is, you know, just the table. And I'll go into tablets properties down here. And what I wanted to look at is the visible, no I don't. Go back over here to the general, row header, repeat headers, rows on each field, repeat header columns on each page. And that's the way I kept that. You could also do this visible while scrolling, which if you work in Excel, it's the exact same thing. So we'll say OK there. And then I just went through and I changed the text box properties, and I changed the number to currency so that it would just be a little cleaner, and I centered it up. But there's really nothing fascinating within there. After I created the basic table, I went in and I inserted a column to the left. I actually inserted these two columns to the left. And then I inserted the start date and the end date. So let's run it again so you can make sense out of those. So here's pricing changes. And like down here, this is the end date. This doesn't have a pricing change because this price is current. This component's still running down here. But some of these started and then they have end dates as they come on through, and others do not. Others that are current products have it, etc. We would normally do some more sophisticated coding in here using expressions, and I might change the color of a row dynamically so that if it had an end date it would be red. I don't care, and then otherwise it would be green. Doesn't really much matter. And you could also do a better sort, but that's not really what we're trying to get in here. Okay, let's go ahead and get our page header started up in here. So I'm going to right click here in the body. I'm going to go insert and I'm going to go page header, and you see now I have this item up in here. And what I'm going to do is add some items down here and then drag them up into the header. So let's go ahead and add a text box. I'm going to right click down here and I'm going to insert a text box, and I'll make it a little bigger. Then I'm going to right click in the text box and I'm going to create a placeholder to hold an expression. So let me back out and show you where I'm going to end up. I want to end up with the report name and the execution time and a line. I'm not going to do the image again. And a line up here in the report header. So let's go back over. And here we'll create a placeholder to hold an expression. And down here I'm going to go into value and I'm going to click my expression box, and then I'll go in here. I'm going to come in and I'm going to take a look at built-in fields, and let's go in with report name. And we'll say that's okay, and we'll say that's okay. And now I have this report name, and let me space it out a little bit down in here. And you could come in and add something like report name is whatever, which is part of cleaning it up when you're done. So let's add another expression, another placeholder to hold that expression. And again, we'll come in built-in fields, and now we're going to go execution time. Okay, we've got that. I'm going to select that whole thing so I can grab it, and I'm going to drop it up here into my header, and I'll resize it a little bit. You'd be playing with the sizes, and we'll run, always run to make sure it worked. You notice the GUID, don't have any concern about that. Later on when you save the report, we'll change out the name of that. Let me come back and show you that. Let's go in and save this, and we're going to save it as, and right now I've got a header and a footer, but I'm doing a demo here, so we'll save it as the demo, and I'll save, and it's saved. And if we run it again, say it doesn't really pick that real report name up until you do this. All right, now if I go through, all I did was I went to the Office button and I picked up the recent document to download all the metadata change, and now when I run it, price list header for, see it picked up that change. Back over to design view. So now you have your page header up in here that'll show up on every page. Again, let's run it and let's go to the next page and see there's my header up here. And you notice this is also on every page. My category groupings there because I changed the table's properties. Now we can come in here and we can enter in a report title. It really doesn't matter. So we've got that down here, and now I'm going to come through and I'm going to add in this little blip down in here, which effectively becomes the page, the report footer. Down here, this is the page footer. This is the report footer. Let's go in and add that. And we'll come down here, we're going to insert a text box like this right here. And let me spread it on out. And let's expand this some so we can see things a little cleaner. And disclaimer, and I've got the other one changed in blue font, whatever you want to do. This would be your disclaimer. And if we run it, See, no disclaimer, and if I go to the end, there's your disclaimer. Back over to design. Okay, I inserted another little text box here. You'll find quite often that it's easier to insert text boxes and then drag them around. Right, so I've got this just a standard old text box, and now I'm going to create a placeholder because, again, I want to insert a built-in field. So here what we want to do is we're going to come through, and I'm going to go page number, and I'm going to say that's okay, and that's okay. All right, and I'll just put this in, and you could put at the beginning, this is blank page number of the standard baloney. Now I'm going to go down here again, and I'll create another placeholder. Oh, gosh, back over to general, into my expression builder, into my built-in fields, and drill down here and figure out what it is I want to know. Overall total pages. And that's okay. Let's test it. Uh-oh. Parameter test run your global variable page. Oh, good grief. Just a second, let me go through and fix that. Okay, the reason that failed down there is this is a global, and it needs to either be in the header or in the footer down here. So I took the text box and then moved it over here into the footer. Now when we run it, I won't get that global error. And if I drop on down page 1 of 2 and go back over to, oops, let's do that again. Let's run that, and let's make sure she works at the end. 2 of 2. Did you notice these are not scripted? When I come through and do these, I let you see that, shockingly enough, I make errors as we have down here. So now what we have is we've got the page, page header up here. Here's your report title. Here's your table header, right? And then of course your group or column headers as we come down here like this. Here's your details row. If you had a table footer, that would be down in here, everything's standard, all right? And then you have your report footer, that would be right here, and here you have your page footer.